and welcome to Chicago Reacts. My name is Lauren, and today I'm going to be looking at more Elden Ring stuff. This is from Adipalooza. It was suggested to me on one of the last videos about how big is the architecture in Elden Ring with real-world comparisons, because I mentioned in the last video, it's kind of stunning how large some of this stuff is. You forget if you're just looking at a kind of a picture, or how far away something is. So I'm curious to see how big this stuff actually is. So I'm looking forward to this video. I hope you are too. If you want to see more stuff like this, go ahead and let me know in the comments below and by liking the video. That will help me know that you want to watch more of it. So yeah, I don't want to waste too much more time. Let's find out how big some of this stuff is.
While playing Elden Ring, have you ever stopped to think exactly how big everything around you is? Which do you think is taller, the walls of Leyndell or the Hoover Dam? The Academy of Raya Lucaria or the Empire State Building? Well, let's find out. Part of the reason the lands between feel so otherworldly is the incredible sense of scale infused into them. And the purpose of this video is to show you how it would feel like to be a tourist in the lands between, if that makes sense. I want to take a look at these larger-than-life structures and imagine how it would feel to see them in real life. And while we're at it, we're going to find out how big they actually are.
Excellent. Okay, great. Lots of scientific things happening in this video, which is always fun. It's just like, sometimes they talk about the reason that this came up was because there was like an image of like this, like it looks like a tree stump, and it took me forever to realize that there was a person in front of the tree stump. I just thought it was like they figured like it was big, but I didn't realize it was cavernous, you know? So I'm really excited to find out how big these things are and how big some of the people are. Maybe we'll see some of that comparison, because some of the bosses and stuff that you fight seem truly massive. Maybe it's because I'm short.
So, let's start this journey with the Jewel of Limgrave, Stormvale Castle. It's clearly visible from the first step side of Grace at the very beginning of the game. From the distance it looks massive already, and this point of view doesn't even fully convey its size. At 580 meters long and 250 meters wide, it comfortably outscales the biggest castle in the world, the 13th century Malbork Castle in Poland. And not only that, but the tallest tower in Stormvale, it's 170 meters tall from the base, which is just crazy tall for a castle tower.
You know what? I feel like in these kinds of things, they had to have made it with magic, right? Like, because it's not like they have, the technology is just different. So like, it's like they have to have done it with magic. That's how it was done, because I know that we were like, well, how did they make the pyramids? And it's like, through time and effort is the answer. But like, this is huge. That's like obscenely big.
That's taller than the Great Pyramid of Giza, or the same height as the Washington Monument. Speaking of really tall towers, in Limgrave we also find the first of the same height.
I didn't realize the Washington Monument was bigger than the Tower of Pyramid of Giza.
In Limgrave we also find the first of the 6 divine towers. Also find crazy tall for a castle tower. That's taller than the Great Pyramid of Giza.
Because it's significant. It's like it's taller by quite a bit actually.
Or the same height as the Washington Monument.
I didn't realize that the Washington Monument was taller than the Pyramid of Giza. That's crazy.
Speaking of really tall towers, in Limgrave we also find the first of the 6 divine towers. These towers measure an incredible 300 meters in height from the entrance door, roughly the height of the Eiffel Tower, and a total of 450 meters from the base, which will make the divine towers the 6th tallest towers in the real world.
Wow. It is also one of those things too. It's like, are they like, because it feels like these towers too, they're bigger. It feels like there's more stuff you can do inside of them other than just go to the top.
The towers are thankfully serviced by a lift, covering an equivalent of about 90 stories.
No. Okay, good. So these are just regular towers like the ones, it's like all you can do is go to the top. I'm an idiot. You discovered that immediately. Great. That's nothing new.
Single trip. But that's not even close to the tallest elevator in the game. The appropriately named Grand Lift of Dectus, traveling from Liurnia all the way up to the Altus Plateau, is
Oh
about
my
385 meters tall. Its taller brother, the Grand Lift of Rold,
Taller?
travels upwards just shy of 500 meters, all the way up to the mountaintop of the Giants and at the level of the
Oh my
lowest
God.
branches of the Earth Tree.
That would be scary. Like, your ears would pop. Ooh, they'd pop. Especially because it's an elevator, so it's going to go up a little bit faster probably than like a plane would lift off. And it's like 3,700 feet is like, you know, common for a plane, right? So it's just like, that's half as high as you'd go in a plane, but they built it.
But for all their pomp and grandiosity, neither one is the tallest lift in the game.
Okay.
Because just south of the Limgrave Divine Tower, in the Mistwoods, sits an inconspicuous structure. You will
it doesn't
probably
look big.
remember the experience of
Probably go
riding this
down.
unassuming platform and watch it go down and further down into another world entirely. The lift descends for a full 65 seconds and covers 508 meters, making it, to my knowledge, the tallest lift across all the Soulsborne
And they make
games.
you just sit there for a minute and a half in
Would
the
it
game.
be the tallest elevator in the
Or
real
sit-
world?
he said 65 seconds. A minute. They make you sit there for like a full minute as it goes down.
Though? Well, that depends on how you define it. It handily beats the world's tallest outdoor elevator, the Bailong elevator in China, but not the tallest building elevator, installed in the third tallest building in the world, the Shanghai Tower. Also,
Oh, I'm sorry. So the third tallest building in the world has the tallest elevator in the world, meaning the first and second tallest buildings in the world do not have a tall enough elevator to get to the top. Are they counting the spires? Are they counting the spires as part of what makes it? Because, like, I personally think they shouldn't count the spires. It should be like what's useful in the building. But like,
in China. What about mine elevators? Well, the Mponeng gold mine in South Africa has a single lift that descends 2,280 meters, and not even the Shifra River comes close. Also,
People can go
making
down
this
that deep?
particular lift so slow was done on purpose in order to let the players slowly enjoy the unexpected spectacle of the Shifra River.
okay,
I say
there
this
was a reason.
because the other similarly sized lifts are much faster. For example, the deep Shifra well that leads up to Kalid only takes 34 seconds to ride the full 452 meters.
It's not insignificant.
And the deep Ainsel well, found after beating Astel, rises 470 meters in just 20 seconds.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's
Zwing.
23.5 meters a second, which is pretty fast for an elevator. The fastest elevator in the real world is in the CTF Finance Center in Guangzhou, and it travels at 21 meters a second. So, while Elden Ring might not have the tallest
Your ears
elevator
would
in the
definitely
world,
pop.
it does have the fastest one.
All right.
You want another record in the game? In the two Eternal Cities underground are
That is
these
a
two enigmatic thrones.
Big dude.
At 45 meters of height, the thrones would be the biggest chairs ever built, as the tallest chair in the real world is only 30 meters high.
They could definitely go
And
better
in
with
case you're
that. We'll
wondering,
we'll
I
pop
estimate
that
that
one
the
day.
mysterious figures sitting on the thrones would be about 36 meters tall standing, time and a
Woo!
half the size of the fire giant.
A time and a half bigger than the fire giant. And because he's not even standing at his full height right now, he's all crouched because he's carrying that platter. Oh my God. You don't even go up to that thing's ankles then. Like the fire giant, at least you go up to like a little bit above their ankle, it looks like. You don't even go up to their, oh my God, they would step, we're like ants to those things in those chairs. Holy crap.
So, what else can we find underground? The Shifra River also houses the Eternal City of Nokron and its impressive aqueduct. At 215 meters tall, it is absurdly tall for an aqueduct. For comparison, the Ponte delle Torri in Spoleto, Italy, one of the tallest aqueducts in the world and also the tallest bridge in the world for
Oh,
almost
damn.
400 years, sits at a measly 80 meters.
Psh,
From up here,
losers.
we also have a beautiful view of the Mogwin Dynasty Mausoleum, clearly inspired by the Greek Parthenon. The artists took the inspiration and then went big. The mausoleum is more than double the size of the Parthenon,
Holy shit.
160 meters long, 58 meters wide and 32 meters tall.
It does feel like they did that for a lot of stuff in this game. They're like, but what if it was bigger? What if we made you feel teeny tiny?
If it wasn't for the columns getting a little bit in the way, you could easily play American football inside the mausoleum.
How dare those columns get in the way?
And while you might be very familiar with the two Eternal Cities and the Mogwai Mausoleum, there is
Hello,
one
Indiana
last
Jones
underground
ball. What the fuck?
structure that I feel is unjustly overlooked: the Grand Cloister. It's hard to notice while fighting for your life in the Lake of Rot, but both the
Oh
Grand
my
Cloister and
God.
its entrance are breathtakingly gargantuan in
Oh
size.
my god.
The entrance to the cloister is through a 65 meters arch,
Again,
which
that's so
sits inside
huge.
a 182 meters tall structure. That's exactly the same height as the Statue of Unity, the world's tallest
Wow.
monument. And speaking of statues, the figures guarding the entrance are proportionally double the size of the Statue of Liberty.
Wow. Well, that's just, it would be so fascinating to, because I actually have never been to the Statue of Liberty. I've been to New York, but we did not go to Ellis Island. And the Statue of Liberty is technically in New Jersey anyway, but blah, blah, blah. Don't come at me on that. But like, I've never actually been there. I haven't seen it. So I'm trying to like, I need them to like start comparing it to like Sears Tower or something, like a building that like I've been to recently that I can be like, oh, okay, that's how big it is. But then imagine that it's not a building, it's just the door kind of thing, which is crazy.
The inside is equally grand, with a ceiling 125 meters tall. A 30-story building could easily fit inside the Grand Cloister. But let's go back above ground now. Right above the Grand Cloister is the Academy of Raya Lucaria. The sorcerers are mining magical glintstones from the caves below the Academy, and in fact, here's glintstone crystals coming out from the ceiling above the Lake of Rot. Now, I'm not a geologist, but it's probably not a good idea to build massive structures on top of a gigantic underground cave.
Bad plan.
This might be the reason why the whole region of Liurnia is gradually sinking.
Probably. That would make
Nonetheless,
sense.
the sorcerers managed to build an impressive academy here, and they even kept on challenging gravity and common sense.
Magic
while
is
doing
greater. Magic is definitely greater than engineering, I tell ya. Like, I mean, you can do some pretty cool stuff with engineering. There is like, there is a building here in Chicago that like, it kind of like goes down at like an angle like this, and it's like really skinny at the bottom, and then it just like widens up at the top. Like, and they did, that was, it's like that building feels like it shouldn't exist, but it does. So it's like, it is, but yes, I think that magic would definitely would definitely compensate for physics in a lot of ways, which is what I said at the beginning. It's like, I feel like some of these things had to have been made through or with immense assistance from magic.
so. The Academy has a beautiful spiral structure that ascends around the axis of the main tower.
It really is, wow.
We start at the bottom of the spiral at the main entrance, pass through the various buildings like the Church of the Cuckoo and the Debate Parlor, and
Aw,
finish right on
debate
top of the
parlor.
entrance, in the majestic Grand Library, where Queen Renala is imprisoned.
Okay.
A clear inspiration for the architecture of the library is the Aachen Cathedral in Germany, whose construction
Ooh,
began
yeah.
under Emperor Charlemagne. The cupola and the spire are unmistakable. The Grand Library is much bigger than its real-life counterpart though, especially in regard to height, to better impose itself on the Liurnian landscape. While exploring the dungeon, you might catch a glimpse of the base of the tower, hidden in the sinister interior of the Academy, and it is unbelievably tall.
Oh my god.
It measures 320 meters from its base, but since it's built on top of a massive rock outcrop,
Does it
it stands
count?
406
I feel like, okay, yes, I was literally just thinking this. It's like several of these things, it's like, how big actually is it? Like, are we just talking about the structure itself? Or are we talking about the things it stands on? Because it's like, you have some of these castles and things that it's like, you can add hundreds of feet just by putting it on top of a mountain. And it's like, oh, how tall is the actual building? Like, would it be as tall if you moved it somewhere else? And if the answer is no, I only want to know the building height. I want to know how tall it is if it was just on a flat piece of ground.
7 meters high from the base of Liurnia. Even excluding the base elevation, that's still taller than the Shard, the tallest skyscraper in London.
Okay. That's still pretty
That
impressive.
should give us an incredible view of the lakes. We can reach the top of the tower via another really tall elevator hidden in the Academy Crystal
Oh my god,
Cave.
110 stories
But
down.
sadly, the view from the top is always shrouded by the omnipresent fog around the Academy.
I love the little emote the little guy did. He's like, oh, I can't see. I think he just was kneeling, but it did look like he was like falling into a depression there because he can't see.
But let's finally move on to the Altos Plateau and examine Leyndell, the royal capital. As a testament to the war-torn status of the lands between, the city of Leyndell has been built as an impenetrable fortress. Seriously, the amount of defensive measures built around the city puts everything existing in the real world to shame.
Damn. Okay.
Leyndell's first line of defense is an
Holy
outer
shit.
ring of incredibly tall walls that surrounds the city, forming a third of circle around 600 meters in radius.
Okay.
Should an invading army ever manage to breach these first walls,
Like, I wonder how close like the walls here are, you know, versus like the walls in Attack on Titan or something. Like how what are the heights? That would be curious. I would be curious to know there.
it will be met by a second ring of walls with a moat at the base. Inside these walls, the city proper is defended by a third ring of walls and a second moat, because, you know, why not?
Can't have too many moats. Moats are
Even
great.
though the circle shape of the walls is not fully closed because of the plateau cliffs, the structure is reminiscent of the ancient city of Baghdad, known as the Round City.
Oh.
Sadly, nothing remains of it today, but
Aw.
according to various literary sources, Baghdad in the 9th century AD had a circular design about 1 kilometer in radius, enclosed by a triple ring of walls, much like Leyndell.
Or Bossing
And
Say.
these defensive walls are so massive that it doesn't even make sense to compare them to real-world fortifications.
Oh my
which
god.
usually top around the 30 to 35 meters mark at most.
I wish that he would put like the like what that would be, like mark it on this wall where 35 meters would be. Like just out of I'm just curious. I want to know where on this would a real world counterpart be.
The walls of Leyndell are 265
So 35 meters would be I don't think that would even make the first segment.
meters tall at the tallest point, gigantic even for fantasy. The walls
Yeah, I don't think that you would even be able to like get to that first like
depicted in Attack on Titans are only 50 meters tall.
He mentioned, yay! I was so happy he mentioned it because I was wondering. Good. Excellent. Okay, so they're only 50 meters tall. Well, that's foolish of the Attack on Titan folks then, because if the Titans go up above 50 meters, they should definitely just have made the walls taller. But they made them 50 meters, make them just 60. How about that? I'm so glad he mentioned it, but damn. All right. Those walls are put to shame by the Elden Ring walls.
Tall, while the wall in A Song of Ice and Fire is said to be about 220 meters
Okay,
high.
so that one's almost.
George R.R.
getting
Martin
there,
himself
getting there.
regretted making it so tall upon seeing the set for the show, because he didn't realize it would be just too big. Martin wrote the Elden Ring backstory, and I wonder what he thought upon seeing that they made Leyndell's wall taller than most dams.
He's just a little taller than a little bit taller than the wall at the north or whatever. I don't remember. What is it? Did it have a name or was it just called the wall in Song of Ice and Fire? I don't remember.
They are 40 meters taller than the Hoover Dam, for
Damn.
example, and almost exactly the same size as the Vaillant Dam in
Oh, wait, no. Did I get that totally backwards? It's 265 meters. Oh, okay. 265 meters tall. And this was.
the walls depicted in Attack on Titan. Regretted making it so tall. Regret fantasy. The walls depicted in Attack on
Okay.
Titans are only 50 meters tall.
I feel like I
while
might have gotten
the wall in A
confused
Song
somewhere.
of Ice and Fire is said to be about 220 meters high.
Okay. 220 meters tall. And this one is 220 meters tall. Okay.
George R.R. Martin himself
is
regretted
265.
making it so tall upon
220
seeing
to
the set
265. So this one's a little bit taller.
for the show, because he didn't realize it would be just too big. Martin co-wrote the Elden Ring backstory, and I wonder what he thought upon seeing that they made Leyndell's wall taller than most dams. They are 40 meters taller than the Hoover Dam, for example, and almost exactly the same size as the Vaillant Dam in northern Italy, the 10th tallest dam in the world that is sadly remembered for the 1963 disaster that claimed nearly 2,000 lives.
Okay.
It makes sense.
Sorry about the confusion there. I got there's a lot of numbers being thrown at me right now, and they're being thrown at me in meters, which is not a measurement. I don't use meters very often because I'm American and we don't. So it's there's a lot of numbers being thrown at me in and the feet are there. So I'm looking at those too, and it just got confusing for me for a second. I'm really sorry that happened, but you can tell me how dumb I am in the comments. It's fine.
That, lore-wise, the only being that ever managed to breach the city defenses was the gargantuan dragon Grand Sax, the biggest of its kind. The highest point in Leyndell is, fittingly, Queen Marika's bedchamber. The tip of the bedchamber dome is 160 meters high from the city road level, and on the inside it features the world's most uncomfortable bed.
Yeah, that looks awful.
The internal structure is possibly inspired by the Pantheon in Rome, with the ceiling coffering and the oculus letting the light in. For once,
it could be cool to have a swimming pool sized bed, but you would definitely need a lot of cushions.
building found in the game is actually smaller than the one that possibly inspired it. But don't worry, we're going to see how they made up for that in the DLC.
Okay.
Right after the bedchamber is the Elden Throne, the grandiose entrance to the Earth Tree. And the door leading inside it is one of my favorite pieces of architecture in the whole game. I love how the Elden Throne and the bedchamber are the very first things we see as soon as we step inside Leyndell.
Okay.
It's like we are being shown the
wow.
finish line. I mean, that's definitely where the game is going to end, right? Of course, something as stupidly huge as the Earth Tree needs something dramatic, not just any old regular door.
Wow.
For example, the Pantheon that I mentioned earlier is also famous for its 7 meters tall bronze door.
Okay, 7 meters tall. It's a big door. It's a big door, but I'm about to get blown away, aren't I?
So, how do you feel about a door that's 108 meters tall?
Oh no!
That's about the size of a football pitch, but vertical. Sometimes
my
I
God.
wish the game had a first-person option just for stuff like this. I mean,
Yeah.
look at that thing. I love it.
Wow.
Incredibly, that's still not enough to beat the tallest door in the real world.
Oh.
The 139 meters door to the NASA Vehicle Assembly Building.
Okay.
Isn't that amazing? Despite what certain weirdos might say online, we are still building wonders.
That's really cool. That is cool. I like that
amazing
mentality.
Structure in Leyndell is hidden underground in the subterranean shunning ground.
Ooh, the shunning
And
grounds.
that's the well leading to the Cathedral of the Forsaken.
Wow.
This well is about 240 meters deep, or about 80 stories, and has a double helix structure with 2 sets of staircases that allow visitors to ascend and descend at the same time without encountering each other, avoiding
Smart.
traffic problems in the narrow staircase.
Too much traffic around here, though. Not anymore, anyway.
Possible inspiration is the beautiful St. Patrick's Well in Orvieto, Italy.
Ooh, that
Of
is
course, Elden Ring had to go big, so the Forsaken Depths Well is more than 4 times the size of the already impressive Italian well.
all right. They
And
ain't
from the
playing.
depths of Leyndell, let's ascend to the summit of the Lands Between, the colossal Forge of the Giants. This impressive artifact is big enough to be visible from the very start of the game, even though it's more than 5 kilometers away.
Oh wow.
The forge is basically a big boat.
That is cool. I've been in certain places before where it's it doesn't necessarily have to be something huge. It just has to be something kind of eye-catching. It's it might be miles away, but you can still catch a glimpse of it through the trees or whatever. If it's high enough and it's clear enough, it's oh damn, we walked from there. Boy.
80 meters tall and 145 meters in diameter. Accounting for the broken edges, it has a useful internal volume of 140 million liters.
I like that he accounted for the broken pit. Like, good. I mean, I probably would have just assumed, like, if he hadn't, I just would have assumed, like, this is what it would have done in its heyday.
56 Olympic swimming pools.
Shit.
Nothing similar exists in the real world for a comparison, as far as I know.
Yeah, probably not.
The shape kinda reminds me of an upside
Because
down.
we're not fire giants or whatever. It's like, it's just not, it would be impractical to have something that big.
Royal Albert Hall, the historical concert hall in London, and that could easily fit inside the bowl of the forge. But then I thought, it kinda looks like a cooking pot. It even has a fire going.
Yeah.
Could we use it for cooking? There's space for 140 million liters of oil in there, after all.
Oh boy, the deep fry is here.
By the rough estimate
Good,
that I
liked
found,
that.
of 1/3 of a gallon to cook 1 pound of turkey meat, the Forge of the Giants could be used to deep fry about 71,000 metric tons of turkey.
I mean, if you're in America, it's all about I will release this around Thanksgiving then, just because of this one mention. This will be a Thanksgiving Day. This will be a Thanksgiving Day video simply because of this. This is why.
In a single sitting. That's about 7.4 million turkeys, or roughly 16% of all the turkeys consumed in the US during Thanksgiving.
All right, see, we get a whole bunch of them, and we just have to do a few rounds, right? Deep fry, a whole bunch of them. Great. Yes. All right. So this is where you're getting your turkey from this year, babes. Yeah.
Right, what was I talking about? Oh yeah,
I don't know.
architecture stuff.
I got distracted.
Welcome to Farum Azula. The last structure I want to talk about before moving on to the DLC is the centerpiece of the crumbling flying city, the Maliketh Arena. This gorgeous building seems heavily inspired by the Baptistery in Pisa, located next to the famous tower in the so-called
Yeah, I can
Piazza
see
dei
that.
Miracoli. In fact, various parts of Farum Azula seems at least partly inspired by the historical buildings found in the Miracle Square.
Ooh,
One example
pretty.
is the similarity between the Beastman graves and the graves found in Pisa's monumental cemetery. And of course, there's a leaning tower too.
Of course.
As for the Maliketh's arena, it is incredibly massive, as tall as a skyscraper with its 235 meters of height. The internal space
Wow.
where we fight Maliketh is 82 meters tall and 60 meters wide. The Pisa Baptistery, while by no means small at 55 meters of height, could easily fit inside the arena.
Oh my god.
Let's move on to the DLC now. While not as vast
Okay.
as the main game, the Realm of Shadow is home to some architectural marvels that put even the biggest structures in the main game to shame. Let's start with something that is relatively small for the standards of this video, but
Great.
that at the same time is much bigger than it has any right to be. The arch leading to Belurat, the Tower Settlement. Right at the beginning of our exploration of the Realm of Shadow,
Oh,
the appearance
okay.
of a giant wicker man guarding this colossal gate catches our attention, leading us to wonder what might be behind it. At
Wow.
79 meters tall, it's bigger than the Arc de Triomphe in Paris. And it also beats the Monumento a la Revolución in Mexico City, the tallest triumphal arch in the world.
Okay. Dang.
Interestingly, there was a monumental arch planned at some point in the past that would have comfortably smashed all of these records.
But I
The
didn't do it.
colossal 117 meters triumphal arch,
It doesn't count. They didn't do it. Doesn't count. Didn't do it.
planned for Berlin by Albert Speer, the chief architect of Adolf Hitler. The arch was just one part of a greater project for transforming Berlin into Germania, the new world capital, a project that thankfully never came to be. Next is the DLC unmissable megastructure that serves to catch the player attention right at the start, Mesmer's Shadow Keep. Much like the Shadow Tree is the shadow of the Earth Tree, the Shadow Keep is the dark counterpart to Leyndell, a black fortress that is the visual opposite of the Golden Royal capital. Just like Leyndell, the
Dang.
keep has been built with war in mind, and as such it also features massive walls, just shy of 200 meters in height. I
Okay.
want to emphasize what sort of crazy scale
So-
we're talking
Smaller than the other one then.
about here. For comparison, this is how a 200-meter tall wall looks like in real life.
Oh my god.
That's the Kolnbrain Dam in Austria.
Oh my god.
And that's
No!
not even half the size of the keep, which
Oh my god. Still smaller than the other one, but still, I'm glad he's putting some of those comparisons in. Like, it is helpful.
sits at an incredible 510 meters tall from the base.
Oh, the key. Okay.
It is as tall as the Taipei 101, which was the tallest building in the world upon construction and kept the record until 2010. If the keep was built in Liurnia, it would be taller
Wow.
than the entire Altus Plateau and would reach all the way up to the city of Leyndell. And,
Wow.
well, remember
I wanted to go back really quick.
Liurnia, it will be taller than the entire Altus Plateau. And
Okay. Okay, so that's 300. Okay, that's the plateau. I was looking at the doors. Oh, I was thinking I was still looking back on doors. Okay. Impressive. 1,673 feet. That's crazy. I feel like there's been a lot of me getting math wrong in this video, but this is not supposed to be a math video, so you can't yell at me about it. But you can tell me I'm dumb in the comments below.
it would reach all the way up to the city of Leyndell. And, well, remember the Shifra depths well? Imagine
Yes,
riding it for a
kind
full
of.
65 seconds going up in the air instead of down into the heart, and it will take you exactly to the top of the keep.
Wow.
Inside the main tower of the Shadow Keep is the majestic Specimen Storehouse, a single room at the center of the tower with a 145 meters tall ceiling. Coincidentally, that's the same height as the interior of the Carian Study Hall, the entrance to the Divine Tower of Liurnia, so the two buildings are pretty much tied for the achievement of tallest single-story
Okay.
ceiling in the game.
Wow. That's a big
For
ceiling.
reference, the Grand Hyatt Hotel in Shanghai has an atrium that spans 33 floors. This is how it looks like, and that's still 30 meters shorter than the storehouse and the
Oh
study
my god,
hall.
that would be dizzying.
I suggest you try not to fall from here.
Yeah, please don't. Bye.
Just behind
I
the
mean,
keep
at
is
least to fall from that height would basically be an instantaneous death. Like, it's like you're not surviving that at all.
possibly the most mysterious mega construction in the whole game, which I'm going to simply call the Gate. It is exactly as tall as the Shadow Keep at 510 meters,
Okay.
but dominates over it by the virtue of being built on higher ground, right in front of the Shadow Tree.
They're like, haha.
To have a better idea of how gigantic
Taller
this
than
thing
you.
is, here's how the New York City skyline would look like if the Gate was built in Manhattan.
Oh my god. Oh, that would definitely change the look of Manhattan, huh? You would definitely assume a Dark Lord lived there. Like, if that you see that structure, you're like, yup. Some evil abomination is going to destroy. Also, I like that there's that Statue of Liberty there. Like, you can see her in the back. Okay. Damn. Dang.
I wouldn't even know how to classify it. It kind of sits in between being a monument, a gate and a wall. And while there are some hints regarding its purpose, it is never fully explained in the game. It could be purely symbolic, a bowl collecting sap from the Shadow Tree, as seen from the phenomenal vista that introduces the DLC, and from the many tree fragments that can be found collected in a chalice at its base. We might never know for sure, but it does raise interesting questions, and it definitely serves as an incredible set piece for the realm of Shadow.
Yeah, for sure.
And we're still not done.
Oh, good.
Let's finally have a look at the tallest building in the whole game.
Oh
An
my god.
architectural impossibility that will reveal itself only after burning the ceiling tree. Enir Ilim, the Spiral Tower. I feel sorry now for saying that the architects that built Raya Lucaria were being reckless. They were clearly very sane men
Yup,
compared to
they
the
were normal.
lunatics that built Enir Ilim.
Oh my god.
whole structure-
Again, magic. Magic definitely played a part.
Sits on top of the settlement of Belurat, supported by unthinkably thin and tall pillars. The spiral motif, ever so important to the Hornsens who presumably built the tower, is present everywhere, in the tower's general structure and in the pillar's decoration. Just before the top of Enir Ilim sits the impressive cleansing room.
Okay.
As the final step before the Gates of Divinity, it is likely that Queen Marika passed here through her ascension to godhood, and the room thus resembles her bedchamber, inspired again by the Roman pantheon. The cleansing room
So did
is
she model her bedchamber off of this on purpose? Perhaps
Much
to remind herself that she's a god?
bigger though, at 45 meters high and 80 meters in diameter. The artists also took a page from their own book, as the mysterious praying children found in the room clearly resembles the monumentals from Demon's Soul.
Oh.
At the very top of the spiral is our final destination, the Gate of Divinity. Have you noticed the top of the gate, shaped like a bowl?
Yeah.
It's quite reminiscent of another
yes, it
gate.
is.
I like the idea that while the Black Gate is a symbol for collecting the blessing of the tree, the Divine Gate represents the giving of a blessing.
Oh, that's nice.
The arena in front of it is littered with the remain of countless sacrifices, and so are the columns extending above
Yeah,
and
which
below
is so
it.
horrible.
From the top of the tallest column to the bottom of Belurat, the Tower of Enir Ilim rises 765 meters tall. That's the tallest point in the map, excluding the Shadow Tree itself, and tall enough to be the second highest structure in the real world, surpassed only
Okay.
by the 828 meter of the Burj Khalifa in Dubai.
Wow. Still,
Elden Ring's
damn.
amazing art direction definitely struck a chord with me, and I tried my best to show you the game's locations from a different perspective.
I think you
both
managed
literally
that.
and metaphorically. Here, above the clouds, is the end of our journey through the landmarks of the
Wow.
lands between. Please leave a comment if you enjoyed this weird little trip. Nothing will make me happier, really. Until the next time, bye bye.
Wow. All right, I'm going to leave him a like. That was quite interesting. Again, I'm going to say magic played a part in a lot of those buildings. Because like some of the stuff that we've managed to build now, like as tall as we've managed to build them, is because technology has improved to such that we are able to make materials that are able to do it, you know? So like, I'm like, magic had to have played a part there. Fascinating. So thank you so much for suggesting that. I really do like to look at like the things like that in games, even if it's a game that I probably will never play. Especially something as beautiful and as well put together as Elden Ring. Like it's so detailed. So getting like a different look at some of those details, very interesting to me. So thank you so much for suggesting it. And I guess if you're American and you're watching this on Thanksgiving, which is when I'm going to post it out, happy Thanksgiving. And you can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant.